right, preparing to live stream, setting it up. I think when I say this, it's already there, but I just make sure that it says, all right, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 20, Gracious 2. What up, Chad?
Hey, we're 20 now. All right. Should we have a cake?
We should. This is a milestone, man.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to 100.
That's right. Exactly. We'll be there before the year's over and then some.
Well, this is true. Yeah. I mean, how many, like, what,
Actually,
52
no,
Tuesdays?
52, Jesus.
Well,
My math
we'll
is
be at 70. Well, no, we're just, I don't know what I got to do math now. Fuck.
yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. It'll throw
I
us
don't want
off.
to do math.
I'm going to start this off with, and it's posted in our description. I found or was shown a lovely new lawsuit brought on the one and only Chad Taylor. Have you got to look at that?
Oh, yeah. I saw something about this online. Yeah. It's interesting.
So it's
interesting.
It's because it's huge. Like,
Well, Chad Taylor and Patrick at this point.
Yeah.
So
and out of the 300 pages, I'm reading a couple, but he passes the buck all over the place, whether it's the people who invested in him or Patrick himself that he tries to point the finger to.
right. Well, this is what narcissists do. They will turn on everybody and try to blame everyone else for their bullshit, you know. And this has been my point with Patrick the whole time. He refuses to disconnect himself from Chad, and Chad is just using him and blaming shit on him now, like in depositions, and it's just fucking wild. The whole thing, like, I know personally, you know, some of these people that brought this lawsuit because they were investors in TLE QE. QE was Question Entertainment was what the entity that we set up to do the Gracious Few.
Did you hear that, Chad?
Yeah, is that Bobby?
Yeah, let me mute him. Hold on. All right. He's muted. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, folks. Stop unmuting. Thank you. All righty then. Anywho.
Technical difficult. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I know some of these people personally, and they came to me at some point. It's like, hey, what's going on with TLE questionable? And I was like, I don't know. You know, I'm suing Chad, so I have no idea what's going on. So they started to ask. So they sent a formal letter to his lawyer, and the response back was like, "You people are pathetic. This has nothing." And Chad Taylor had nothing to do with this company. Blah 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 blah. Now he said in depositions he had nothing to do with it. And it's like, you ran it. And you were the CEO and ran it and had all access to all the bank accounts. And instead of just apparently what these people want is just to shut down the company and get the final K1 and be done with it, right? So they can have the write-off on their taxes. But instead of doing that, Chad Taylor's like, I had nothing to do with it.
So these investors,
it was Chad. He blamed it on Chad and Bill, of course. Bill's the bad guy and everything. So it's easy to say, oh, it's Bill's fault. Like, it had nothing to do with Think Loud Entertainment. Like, what the fuck? It's insane.
Well, they asked him numerous times, like, if Bill had something to do with it, why is his name not on the paperwork? And he's like, oh, it's just it's a fake paper. It's like, dude, your signature's on it. The whole thing is
like, just say, yeah, I ran it. I'll send you the final K1 and we're done. But now, because he's pissed everyone off because he's like, I had nothing to do with it. It was Bill Hines. Gracie.
So the investors are just looking to get a K1, which is so they could write this off as bad debt, basically.
At one point they were, yeah, they just wanted information. They wanted a K1 to shut down the company, or wanted him to shut down the company, issue the final K1, which allows them to write off their full investment on their taxes.
Right.
Simple. But now they're fucking pissed because he's like, I had nothing to do with it. They talked to him. They got information from him.
Yeah.
But he had nothing to do with it. It was Bill Hines and Chad Gracey.
Well, it seems to me that, I mean, from everything I'm hearing, these companies were helping him kind of live the lavish lifestyle he created. Again, this is all alleged, so I'm just speaking of things I've read. But it seems like, is that his hesitation in shutting down the companies just so he can get some more money out of it? And like,
I don't know what his motivation is. It fucking baffles me. And knowing the guy for whatever, 40 years. Yeah. 35 years, 36 years. I don't know what it is, but like, I have no idea why he would fucking deny that he ran this fucking company. Just baffles me. And then Patrick at one point in the deposition says the same thing, that Bill and I ran that company. I'm like, what? Like,
I mean, you
in
can't,
what fucking world are you living?
right. You can't just say things, especially if there's paper trails and stuff. Like it just seems like you're digging yourself a hole that you're not going to be able to get out of at some point.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
I mean, just the amount of money in lawyers alone, dude. It's like, cut your losses. It seems like you did all right in these companies, made out. Like, move
Yeah.
on. I don't know.
I mean, the big thing about Think Loud Entertainment was that the main artist that he was trying to develop got pregnant. And that
Is it
kind of shut it all down. But instead of like going to the investors say, yeah, or he, instead of just shutting the company down and being done with it, he's like just kept it open and now he says he has nothing to do with it.
is it Chad Taylor's baby that she's pregnant with?
No, I
Well,
don't think so.
because it seems to draw conclusions that he was like flying Instagram models out on the company's dime when they had nothing to do with the company, almost like it was
Yeah, that
uh
was interesting. I had no
yeah,
idea about that.
almost like quid pro quo. I'll give you a shot here if you give me a shot there or something.
Yeah. And I had read at some point, I guess he gave the artist that got pregnant an $80,000 advance. I'm like, what?
And never
Like,
put out an album.
yeah. And I'm like, $80,000 from an independent company, like record, I guess we call them a record company, entertainment company, whatever the fuck.
Right.
That is not, that was never like really completely funded to do what it should have done.
Right. It
To
was
give a new unknown artist $80,000 is like, wait, what? I don't even think major record labels, if they still exist, do that with new artists.
it's a
That
huge
kind of money.
sum. Yeah.
Yeah. I had no idea about that. I'm like, that's fucking insane.
Was this artist Zoe or whatever, or is this somebody else?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, yeah. Or Zoe, whatever. Well,
uh,
Jesus,
the
Christmas.
whole thing is just like I said, the whole thing is baffling to me. It just I don't understand those people over there anymore. I don't understand Chad Taylor. I don't understand Patrick. I just do not understand them as former friends, as human beings. I don't understand their motivations, like what the fuck they're trying to do by just lying, blatantly lying to people. It just drives me fucking insane.
I don't get what it's in it for Patrick because, Taylor's over there under deposition, like trying to point the buck at him. And it's like, that's not what a friend does. Like, take responsibility for what you did and don't rat on your friends. I mean, come on. That's number one rule.
Yeah. Well, that's not the number one rule in the narcissist world. It's like blame whoever
Yeah.
you can to take the fucking, spotlight off of you.
Right. Right. Well, we do have some cool guests coming on today. We're a cool guest, Scott Martinetti, I believe we pronounce it.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Longtime live fan. Got a bunch of stuff for him. I'm sure he's got questions for you and all that jazz. Uh,
Yeah, he's asked me a lot of questions on my drum videos and stuff, and yeah, I'm excited to talk to him.
yeah, dude. Everybody wants you to pump out some more of those videos. Those are cool and
Yeah,
good camera angles.
I might work on some when I go. I'm probably going back to York towards the end of the month here, so
Cool.
hopefully we'll pump some out.
Good old York. I forget what I was watching that day. Oh, I was watching something on Y2K on HBO Max. Remember that, dude?
Yes. Oh, fuck yeah.
I thought that it was all bullshit and just something they were trying to rile us up on, but apparently they really did have to, for a couple of years, really reprogram a bunch of computer line and code to actually add those two extra digits. Like how like narrow-minded are you to set up the date? I guess because it was done in the 70s, early 70s, but like
Yeah, I think they just weren't thinking about it at that point. It's just like someone will change this before before 2000 comes. I guess maybe that's what they were thinking. Who knows?
and they were
But it's
saying it's
wild
like
though.
a memory issue back then because I guess they never. So to add those two extra digits for the year, I'm like, wow, how much memory could that take up?
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
You
I mean,
know?
I remember that hysteria. I mean, we actually had a gig on New Year's Eve,
Oh,
well, the
really?
end of New Year's Eve 1999. Yeah, we were playing in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and we actually didn't do the gig because of my 2K.
You thought it was
Just in case, we're like, I don't want to be called out in the fucking. If this shit goes to chaos, I don't want to be fucking sitting in
on?
Hershey, Pennsylvania. Like,
Yeah. Well,
So I remember New Year's Eve 1999. We didn't do the show obviously, so I was at my house in Portland, and I fucking filled up the bathtub with water. I'm just like, see what happens, just in case.
were you
See what
about to
happens.
slice your wrist in there and like?
No, no, no. You fill up your bathtub with water, and if you have emergencies, you have potable water that you can use.
Oh, wow. That's a great idea. You better
Mhm.
clean that tub a little bit before you do it,
Well,
but
of course you clean them up,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you can use it to flush your toilets and shit too.
Yeah. I'm watching people who recycle that toilet bowl water just so they can kind of reuse it in the toilets and stuff that they don't need. It's weird that
Yeah,
we're not set up like that. I guess water has just become so easy for us to get that we're like, we don't need to recycle anything.
yeah. I mean, other countries they recycle all their sewage water. Like they clean it and then use it again for I think toilets and stuff, maybe to drink too. I mean,
Oh, God.
well, you clean it to a certain point. It's like, you can still drink it.
Well, yeah, that's what sewage plants do. I mean, they clean it up and get all the shit out of it and then put it
Yeah.
to, I guess,
And
ocean.
then they just flush it into rivers and streams once it's
My
cleaned.
God, dude.
It's like,
Like,
why wouldn't you reuse it? It's pretty wild.
yeah, I think it's like clean. I don't know if it's clean to the point where I'd want to drink it, but it's clean to the point where I think it's not going to pollute things like, just dumping raw sewage. But
Oh
like,
no, it's pretty clean when it comes out of the
oh,
wastewater
yeah.
treatment plants. Yeah. I mean, like I don't know if I would drink it, but like why wouldn't recycle it and then put it through the process of drinking water again I mean,
Well, let's start a company. We'll call it Shit Water.
yeah, shit water. There you go.
Shit Water.
Taking the shit out of water.
Taking the shit out of water. There you go. I was I guess this one company started something called Black Water years ago, and I
Mm.
drank it. It was pretty good, but it was black water, and it was some company in New Jersey made it. So I think that was a stigma against it. And they were trying to say it was like naturally processed water, but I'm like, what water is black? Like, I don't know. It was strange. I tried it, but
The only black water I know is in your RV that this is the shit water that you're not supposed to that you're supposed to put into the sewer.
right, exactly.
You got gray water and black water. So
Yum-y.
yeah, no
Uh,
thanks.
you've been watching anything cool lately? On
I'm watching Louder Milk. Did I talk about that last week?
briefly we brought that up.
Yeah.
That's a good
I'm
show.
getting all caught up on it. So it's a good show. I like it, man. Ron Livingston is great. He was great in Office Space and
Oh yeah.
it show's entertaining. I'm digging it.
It seems like anything he's involved with, either he's involved in like the writing of it or producing of it, because it's all got a similar feel, like all the stuff he's in.
Yeah. I don't know if he was involved in writing of Office Space, but
Oh no.
and his I don't think so. I mean that's Mike Judge project. So I don't know
Oh,
if
right,
guy
right.
from Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so but there's a cool like video going around probably like a year or two ago that I saw that's from the show and I didn't know it was from the show where he goes into the coffee shop and the chick's like, "What can I got you?" And he's like, "Why are you talking like that?"
Yes. Yes.
So great.
She's like, why are you talking
This is
like
my
that?
boss. It's like that's
Yeah.
not your boss.
Dude, that is classic. I think
Why are you being such a dick?
tech. It's like vocal fry or something they call it.
Exactly. It's a vocal fry.
It's so
Great.
funny, man. Like that's a not a natural phenomenon. That's something you put on to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like, that's not your natural voice. It's an affectation of teenagers and rich people.
exactly.
And you're not rich because you're working in a coffee shop.
You're my barista. All right, I'm gonna let in Mr. Scott Martinetti. Please let me know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, we need a clarification in the last name here.
Yeah, I should get a phonetic dictionary, but you never know what names people pronounce them a little wacky.
It's like Martinetti, fucking Italian.
There you go. Scotty, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the Gracious Two. There you
There
are.
he is. What's up, Scott?
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
Good,
What's
man. How are
going
you?
on? How you doing, Chad?
I'm good, thanks.
Sweet. I'm still in Brazil, actually.
Oh, you are? Nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Scott was telling me about his trip to Brazil. He has a girlfriend. She
Yeah.
lives there? Nice.
Yeah, she's from here. Yeah. I've been down here, I think, since December 19th or 20th.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Which
those
part?
ladies, yummy.
Yeah.
What part of
We're it's a town Oh, sorry. Go ahead. The
No,
lag's a little bad here. I didn't
yeah,
realize.
it's all good.
Yeah, it's a town called Gaionia. It's kind of in the center. It's the start of probably the southern 2/3, which is like the farming region. So it's a lot of farmland. Out behind the house here is just like, probably 200 acres of cow pastures and stuff. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Oh, very nice.
I know they're a big at least when UFC's on, the Brazilian community is represented pretty well. There was just a big fight on this past weekend where a bunch of Brazilian fighters were going for the championship and whatnot. Do you notice any of that in Brazil? Like, are there avid fans over there, or is it just something I'm kind of bringing up in my brain?
I don't think the USC is something that the average Brazilian watches, more so football, like soccer. I mean, things shut down from what I've seen, and it's like, you see people sitting out in front of the house with a TV nearby and they're all watching the game, or in the local, pub and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. Have you since you spent Christmas there? How was Christmas over there? Was it festive? Did they celebrate like us?
Oh, dude. I mean, they get like 2.5 or 3 weeks off from work.
Yes.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's wild. I mean, I think anywhere outside the United States gets a decent actual vacation, like a human being should get. Down here, they were lighting firecrackers and it sounded like M80s going off, for like 2 weeks straight, especially at, in the mid-afternoon at night. So
nice.
It was cool. I mean, I had to ask Sandra, I said, that's not guns, right? She's like, no, it's La Fiera, which means the festival. So it's like 2.5 weeks. I was like, okay, because where I live, that's not firecrackers.
Yeah.
Does that span over Christmas and then into New Year's, I assume?
Dude, I think her niece just went back to school yesterday.
Wow.
So the kids get almost half the month of January off. It's like a 4 or 5 week thing for the kids in school. Wow. And
I meant the festival.
Workers get like 3 weeks.
Does the festival last over like Christmas and then go into New Year's? Is that how the festival works? Like people are lighting off fireworks?
Yeah. It's like, yeah. And they do because it's middle of summer here. It's reversed. Right. I'm about 1,700 miles south of the equator. So the weather is comparable to, the southern Florida, southern Florida is 1,400 miles. So it's about the same. But they get off and, things shut down and they have carnivals and stuff. They do, local carnivals, merry-go-rounds and stuff. It was pretty cool.
To get a little personal here, Scott, did you meet your lovely lady? Was this somewhere you met online? Was this somehow you met in person? How did you make your way down to Brazil?
So kind of friends in common, and I got to talking to her, via Facebook a little bit, chit chat. We talked. I mean, honestly, I've talked to Sandra off and on for probably 4 or 5 years, and I was down in Medellin, Colombia, back in July, and I said, you know what? Here it is. I'm in. No, dude. I tell you, man. no. Medellin's actually really cool. I mean, a friend of mine makes fun of me how I say it. I say Medellin or Medellin. Yeah. But so I was down in Colombia last July, and I said, you know what? Here it is. I'm in stinking Colombia, and I'm talking to Sandra, texting her. I said, let me just bite the bullet. I'd never been to Brazil before, so back in September I flew down here, and got to know her. Things worked well. She's a great person, and she cares for her mother. I mean, a lot of good qualities there. So yeah.
Nice
stuff. Hell yeah.
I want to go check out Colombia. I've heard good things about it, good and bad things, but
yeah.
I would say at the first. Oh,
no, go.
I'm sorry, John.
No.
I'd say the first time I went to Colombia, I was literally 2 weeks before the pandemic started. I was down there in February of 2020. I left in March of 2020. I was there for like four or 5 weeks, and Medellin was starting to become the hotspot in South America. It had just picked up traction. And I think now is probably still a good time to go. And I say this up front, and, I think before it becomes too touristed, you know what I mean? It's good to go now, check it out, because the prices of everything. I was looking at farmland out of curiosity, and you could get 20 or 30 acres down there for $30,000 about 4 years ago.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of like the dream, you little called in Spanish finca, with 20, 30 acres, get your chickens and the horse or whatever, or cows and stuff like that. Just live in the countryside.
Do you speak Spanish? Going to all these Spanish-speaking countries? Well,
Well,
Brazil.
Brazil's Portuguese. Come on now.
Hey, now.
Yeah, it's true, dude. Yeah.
Don't piss off the Brazilians,
I do
John.
know.
True.
I know, bro. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the Brazilians are less. Brazilians are more to the point than like Colombians and Dominicans and stuff. I speak about 70% Spanish. I can get by pretty well. I got the basics down. Portuguese is different. Like I've got to get an idea of what's going on, what's being said. I can understand, especially reading body language. That's the biggest thing for me. If I understand the context.
Batarista.
Sim. Yeah, sim. Muito obrigado. Yeah. So, yeah, but people are generally patient,
Is that you, Scott? You got a truck backing up onto you? It sounds like
the trash truck is out front right now.
Nice. Perfect.
Here, you want me to show you the street where I'm at real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Check it out.
Okay.
Get ready, folks. We're going to Brazil.
Sim, muito bom, muito quente, very hot. It's about 90 degrees today, 89.
Ooh,
boy.
Muy caliente or something.
Right here. Muito quente. Let me make sure this door don't close on me. Okay, there we go. If I get locked out, I don't know how far. You know what? It's the.
Oh,
I know. It's the they're repaving the dirt road here.
Wow, dude.
So it's a dirt road. Okay.
Yeah, it's a dirt road. Well, Sandra was like, she said, I'm so embarrassed because it's a dirt road here. It's not asphalt. I was like, listen, I'd rather do that any day.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
What do you get around?
Let me show you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
I was just asking, how do you get around over there? Is it just a regular car on those unpaved roads, or do you do like more off-road vehicles?
Dude. She's got this little 4-cylinder, 5-speed, like Japanese. It's a Chevy with a Japanese engine in it.
Oh, wow.
You swear this thing was 4x4. It goes over every type of thing you can imagine, man. We actually drove about an hour and a half. Oh no, this one isn't. They do have 4x4 down here though. Yeah, there's the pasture down here.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Little garden right there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
I hear some cats. It seems like you're kind of well protected in the development you're in. It's got high walls. It seems to have a nice gate and stuff. Is that necessary or
shit? We got strays.
Yeah, dude. My sister fed that thing last week when she was down here, and he don't leave me alone since. I gave him some food yesterday.
Nice.
Yes. I gotta call him Oscar. His name's Oscar or Roscoe.
Roscoe, what's up, buddy?
Yeah. So, I'd say it's probably the average within Latin America to have a somewhat walled exterior of the house.
Yeah.
I've been to Peru when I was a kid. My uncle, who was a huge live fan, took me to Peru when he got married back in 2000.
Cool.
So Peru, Latin America in general has the walled areas around the homes.
Yes.
There's not a police force. There's a really good book called The Locust Effect, and the guy gave a TED talk a few years ago, and he talks about how traditionally the police system, law enforcement system, is really in place just to protect the rulers of society, and the unique circumstances around the United States and maybe Great Britain is that that's one of the few law enforcement systems that are there to protect the people. So, with that being said, down here, it's the police. It's not really anything you can truly depend on. So you just, take your preemptive caution, so to speak.
It's kind of like Mexico. You can't really count on them either in Mexico.
Yeah, probably so.
They're there to shake you down.
Yeah. Brazil here, I think they do traffic stops for that stuff. I haven't experienced that yet, so we'll see.
The first time we went to Brazil in like 92 to play, what I noticed, we were in Rio and Sao Paulo, the big cities, obviously, but in Rio, what I noticed, what stuck out to me was that all the slums are up in the hills. where
Oh,
in America, like in the
okay.
Hollywood Hills, all the big, nice houses are up on the hills with the views, and all the slums were built up on these hillsides. It's like, this is fucking crazy. Like all
Oh, wow.
the people, all the
They
poor
get the
people got
best
the
view.
sweet views. But
Yeah.
hey, why not?
Don't go up there. Look at
Yeah.
the riffraff.
Don't no. No, we went to Rio and they were like, yeah, just stay in your hotel.
Is
Okay.
Rio the spot with
Oh,
that
wow.
big statue of Jesus?
Yes.
Yeah,
Christ the Redeemer. Yes, he's
that's
in Rio.
that's dope.
Cristo.
How far are you from Rio?
You know that? Man, it's probably, I mean, because Brazil is huge. I am comparatively in the Midwest United States, maybe Texas, and Rio is in, let's say, New York.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Decent hike.
Um,
Decent hike to go there. Are you exploring all of where you're at, or you kind of staying local? How's it working?
Kind of 50-50. I mean, my work is seasonal in the States. I do like power washing and window cleaning down, in Maryland. So
Mm.
times like this when it's literally 20 degrees in Maryland last night,
Yeah.
I just take off and get the heck away.
Nice.
As far as checking things out, I'd say, I'm always on the go in the States, and I don't think a lot of other people are used to that. And you go down to other areas, they're pretty much just chilled out at home in their local neighborhood, which is the traditional, life, really.
Right.
So I'm like antsy. I've got to go. So like yesterday, I asked Sandra if we could go check out. I'm just going online, looking up, farmland, see what's around. It was, I think, 18 acres for 230 grand. I mean, I don't have the money right now, but it'd be something to save for. So we
Yeah.
rode, an hour and a half south and just checked out. It was beautiful seeing the farmland region. I mean, it looks like you're in the States in terms of the corn and soybean farms. Like,
Ah,
I'm down in the eastern shore of Maryland, so Chad knows that area is like all rural. It used to be.
Yes.
So
what you're looking at the
So, yeah.
farmland, is
So,
that something
just getting a feel. So,
there you go. When you're looking at farmland, is that something that you are thinking about doing, or do you have some farming experience? Like 18 acres or something seems like a big plot of land to grow stuff on. If you're not like skilled or uh-oh, looks like we got that Brazilian Wi-Fi glitch. I guess I wonder if that is their Wi-Fi, or maybe just he has a bad connection. But I do notice that when we go long distances with some other countries, that their internet doesn't work as well. I always wonder if it's a distance thing or if it's their internal system thing. But Scott, we will be here if you come back. Right?
Oh,
Do you have any sound on him or video, Chad?
I got nothing. No,
All righty then.
he's locked up.
He is locked up, locked and loaded.
It's probably internal. I mean, they have fiber optic lines connecting Brazil, so it's probably internal.
I gotta wonder with us. There it is, moving again. I gotta wonder with us inventing the internet, if like there's just backdoors for every country and we could siphon off all their information. Scott, seems like you're back though. I was asking you about your 18 acres stuff. Like, are you a farmer? Do you know how to farm, or is that something you plan on maybe getting into further down the road?
Oh, I think maybe it's catching up. Oh,
I don't know. Anyway, Chad, you ever farmed or been on a farm?
yeah. I mean, I've been on a few farms, but I had some.
All right, I'm going to let in Mr. Scott Martinetti.
Oh wow.
hello.
That's really on that's like 15 minutes behind ish. So you said
This is
you've been,
wild.
that is wild.
Yeah, so I had a family friends that had a farm that my mom used to take me to when I was a kid, probably up until about 10 or 11. But so we used to go down there. There's Ike and Mary, I think their names were. Older
Cool.
people. But
I
yeah,
think-
I hate it. I didn't like going there because they would give you well water and it tasted like shit. That's
Oh,
all
yeah?
Just
No
tasted
filter
good.
on that? Just
No.
straight out the
right
ground?
right out of the fucking ground with a pump.
Yum.
The pump thing.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
This is in the
Wait.
70s, so yeah. But he would take me around, show me the gardens and the animals and stuff.
That water is definitely great for watering your crops and stuff, but yeah, maybe to drink it is a bit much. Scott, are you back? Negative. No, Scott, I got no sound on you. If you want to try to leave, and then there we go. Let's try this. Do that. Okay. View and then admit. Let's see if this works. Trying to, so he's trying to come in under 2. I'm going to try and let him in on both because I don't know which one is which. But sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. This is what happens when we go live in other countries, but that's the beauty of the internet. We could do all this. Scott, can you hear us?
Scott, can you hear us?
Yeah, here we go. I'm going to switch over to the cell phone I've got. It seems to be better than the Zoom Chromebook.
Sure. There you go. The old 5G rather than the Wi-Fi connection might be the way. So Scott, I'm going to try to ask this one more time. Do you have any farming experience, or is that something you're thinking about getting into like further down the road? Because you mentioned that you were looking at farmland a couple times. So I'm just wondering if that's something you're into already, or maybe some potential future.
Yeah, I grew up on the Eastern Shore, and my grandfather had about 65 acres on the water, farmland. So I kind of grew up around that, when I was a kid. My grandfather had sheep. He was from Brooklyn, New York. So he just it was more of like what they call, I guess, a vanity farm. But, we had chickens and eggs down there. And I lived down there for a year, a few years ago, and raised a bunch of chickens doing the chicken tractors stuff. If you ever looked into what Joel Salatin does with the coops he moves every day. So, I think, yeah, it's interesting stuff. I especially, you, Chad, with your approach on a lot of the way things are going in the States with the food system. He wrote some really good books talking about why, people have been so brainwashed into believing that the way that they raise animals now is normal. The big pharmaceutical companies, the big food corporations have really owned the politicians in terms of, lobbying against small farmers. So you can't grow fresh, healthy chicken. So you can't grow grass-fed cows and bring them to customers locally. So if I did have some money to spend on a piece of property down here, I think I would probably just do a little homestead type thing.
Gotcha.
That's something I would like to do, to answer your question. Yeah, sorry for going around the bat, and I'm not sure if the lag is still on the internet connection here.
No, dude, you're good. Whether the lag's there or not, I like what you're saying. And that's true. I think that's where capitalism gets a little freaky, is when these big corporations are all about making that top dollar and pleasing their investors, and then they fuck the small man, the independent farmers and stuff like that, who make great food, sometimes a lot of times better than those big corporations, and they treat the animals better, and they do regenerative farming as opposed to what the big corporations do. So that's where capitalism gets a little tricky. If they could figure out a way to not let shit like that happen, it would be the best system, but they just haven't tackled that yet. Like
yes, the U.S. and the FDA is in bed with big pharma and all that bullshit too. I mean, just get into that conspiracy theory, of course.
Yeah.
Have you heard of John Bergman? He's a chiropractor out of, I think, San Diego. He's got a really good theory on what disease is, and he goes down into, he says basically disease is something from a mental stress, emotional, physical, or environmental stress. And
it's called.
He says the FDA
disease. Yes.
Yeah. The fraud and deception agency, he calls it.
Yes,
that's perfect.
That's basically it.
Yeah. More people need to just kind of look into this stuff. I mean, we could talk all we want, and we pretty much try to hammer home a lot of these points, but until people start to really look into it, and because you could eat local, you could use your local farmers and stuff like that. Even in New Jersey, we could do it. I'm sure every state has a little bit of local farming going on. And
there's a ton of ingredients in the U.S. that are allowed, substances in food that are allowed, that in the U.S., but not allowed anywhere else in the world. They're banned.
Right.
I mean, food coloring. You go down the list of different stuff that we allow in our food system that is banned in the world.
As long as it doesn't kill you in a single dose, they could have those ingredients in there. Like, in other words, they could have, rat poison in fucking, we'll say milk, as long as it's not under like enough to kill you in one dose. Like if it kills you in 100 doses, then they could have that put in there, which is fucking crazy.
I think there's around 15,000 ingredients they don't have to list on fucking food labels.
Strange.
Different shit. And so Joe Rogan had this guy named Gary Brecka on a few episodes ago, probably 2 months now. And Gary Brecka specializes. He's basically, I don't know if you saw what happened to Dana White. Like he transformed and he got all healthy and stuff. He was kind of overweight.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
So Gary Brecka is one who basically transformed his health. And one of his big things is that you have to take supplements, but the supplements have to be what's called methylated.
Yes.
Which basically allows your body to absorb them better and use them more effectively. But what he really talked about that stuck out to me was that in America, all of our flour and bread has folic acid in it.
Okay.
Right. And it's, we're the only country that adds folic acid to our food. And most people can't process it. So that's why a lot of people's health are fucked up in this guy's estimation, like because your body doesn't really process folic acid. It needs a methylated version of it, but this version that's in your food it just fucks your body up, fucks up your bowels, does all kinds of weird shit to your body. So but no other country does that. That's why, like in Europe, they can eat pastas and breads and not get
bloated.
Most Europeans are not overweight.
Right.
And they eat pasta and bread all fucking day long. That's what they eat.
Yep.
Especially in Italy and the southern, like they eat pita bread and all that stuff. And it's like, they don't put folic acid in their food over there. They don't put all kinds of stuff in their food, but that's one of the big problems with the U.S. food system.
What an advertisement!
But I'm just a conspiracy theorist, so don't listen to me.
Don't listen to Chad. What an advertisement for that.
No,
though.
Yeah, that guy is fucking awesome. Good, worth checking out.
Just to see Dana White.
That's why I got this.
What is it? Glass.
Hydrate. The other thing Gary Brecka says, you should drink hydrogenated water, which basically, so this little thing down here, that has electrolysis in it and makes hydrogen in your water.
Oh.
So it's good. It's like anti-inflammatory. It helps you absorb your supplements better. And does all kinds of great things in the body. So hydrogenated water.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good advertisement for that dude because, I mean, he took Dana White off of like cholesterol medicine, thyroid medicine, like a lot of serious medicine in 4 to 5 weeks, just changing his diet, which is
so what Gary does is he offers a kit on his website. You can go to GaryBrecker.com. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying, it's probably worth to check out, but you can do a cheek swab and then you send that in and he can check your genetics to see what, if you have genetic malfunctions in certain genes, he can then give you supplements and stuff to correct those things.
To get your body to naturally metabolize and do what it needs. Scotty, I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, no, I heard about that. I was curious looking into that. You send a cheek swab out and they test whatever your deficiencies are. And they say a lot of people's underlying conditions clear up. Yeah. I mean, I got to tell you, I spend a lot of time in Colombia. I go there, a couple times a year. I actually go there for the dentist. I'd rather go down there and spend, good money on a dentist there versus what the health insurance will pay for back in the States,
Wow.
But a lot of the diseases in the United States are extremely unique to our food system. It's very scary. Yes. I mean, to be honest with you, I said to myself, between the stress that's involved in living in the States, and it's not, it's a mixed bag. I mean, I think the average, citizen in the United States has so much weight on their shoulders that the propaganda, can, the machine, that so much stress they try to push on you as a citizen that average people here don't, it's not a daily, really concern. And it's interesting. But besides that, I said, I don't want to have cancer by the time I'm 40 or 45. I'm 36 now. If I can, and John Bergman, he cited a study in one of his podcasts a while back, a couple of years ago. I was listening to his stuff, and he said that the FDA or the pharmaceutical companies have found no correlation in mice with Roundup during a 30-day trial. And he said that's because
he said that's for the study.
He said that's because the cancer. Exactly right. He said that's because the tumors don't start growing until day 40.
Right.
It perfectly makes sense to me. I mean,
and that's how they make studies work for them.
Right. Well, like, what about the long-term effect? Not the fucking 30-day effect of Roundup. What about the long-term?
Oh, I know.
I mean, come on now, people.
He says, really? Oh, sorry, bro.
No, but go ahead, dude.
He says, Roundup was actually registered as an antibiotic. And from what I've read, I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but what I've read and what I've, seen through researching is that it's claimed that Roundup actually works by stopping microbiotic processes from creating the amino acids in the food that are supposed to be there. So in other words, you might eat a stalk of broccoli with Roundup on it, and it's actually doesn't even have the health benefits that broccoli is supposed to have. On top of that, it has Roundup in it, which is an antibiotic, which not only messes with your gut microbiome, but it also somehow works to chelate minerals out of your body. That's why everybody's constantly dehydrated, drinking tons of water. I mean, I'm here in Brazil. People aren't chugging water like they do back home. I mean, because don't get me wrong, the food is, we're living in the same, type of system that they're putting chemicals on the food here, but it's not as intense as the States, at least yet.
Right.
Well, they probably have less factory farming down there, I would imagine.
True.
Oh, dude, that farm. They had, I think the neighbor of that farm I was looking at yesterday had 700 acres, and it was all just, pasture, just cows grazing. That's what cows are supposed to eat, grass, not corn.
Yes.
Well, actually, I'm hearing there's this type of seaweed that these cows could eat to lower their methane output. Like, in other words, grass makes them gassy and stuff like that. Whereas this seaweed that they grow in the ocean supposedly gets rid of that. So I'm not saying cows are supposed to eat that, but supposedly if and when they do, it really lowers their methane export, if that's a way to do it. Scott, you said something interesting. You said that like the people in Brazil, they're not as like edgy, they're not as anxiety ridden as people in America. Is that because they're just not as connected and on their phones like we are, or they're not on the internet like we are, or is it just their government's not putting out all this horrible news and stuff like that?
I personally, people down here, I think 10 years ago, everybody's got a cell phone. Now I think Brazil was probably 10 years behind the States in terms of its cultural disintegration due to social media, to be honest with you. People here still know how to have conversations. They still know how to sit down and talk. They still want to share a meal. Those things still matter here. I'll be honest with you, John. I personally have my personal thoughts that I think when you come back to the States, I think the food is not poisoning, but it's depriving people's nervous systems, and they are neurologically frayed due to the inadequate, insufficient amount of nutrients in the diet. And I think that's, I had a family member who had esophageal cancer, and towards the last few months of his life, he couldn't eat, and he ate very little.
Wow.
And there was a certain look in his eyes that I'll never forget. And when I see people in the States, how angry they're irritated. It's not actual anger, it's general agitation, irritation. And, I come down here for the first week, I'm still hungry like I am in the States. And after about the first week, I just can't eat that much. And I need to lose, trust me, my goal is to, drop a bunch of pounds. That's the end goal anyway. But, when you come down here, you're just satiated. I felt that way in the Dominican Republic. I felt that way in Colombia. I spent a couple months down there over time. And I just find outside of the state, I went to Portugal a couple of years ago, and you can eat the bread. The bread doesn't bother you. People were just chilled out. People's nervous systems aren't as agitated and on edge, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, we
It's
could
the
definitely,
food, baby.
yeah, and we could definitely use a little bit less anxiety in the States for sure.
I think it's the food and the propaganda
Yes.
that they fucking throw out constantly in our news.
Chad, I said something to somebody yesterday. I said and I don't want to get political. I don't want to say this in particular. I'd say on a broad spectrum. I say the United States used to produce, some of the most amazing technological achievements in the world. The farm equipment that came out of the States after World War II. I mean, the stuff, it changed the world.
Yeah.
I think in my personal system or belief system now, I'd say the United States is really good at producing propaganda. I mean, it's scary
100%.
how scientific things have become.
Yeah. And we're like, so we know being in America that China's all propaganda, Russia's all propaganda, but in America, as Americans, we don't think that about our government, and they could possibly be the best at it, in the grand scheme of things, because we're just blind to it and eating into it and feeding into it. And, that's worse than being in China, a Chinese citizen, and kind of knowing that you have a dictator telling you and propagandizing. When you're in the black in America, you're thinking like, oh no, that's not going on. That's more scary than knowing.
That's the biggest thing to me is that people in developing countries, they know the government's corrupt. They admit it. They'll say it. Well, that's because they're corrupt. But I think there's this desire to want to believe in people, in the United States. And I'm not saying that all is a wash. I mean, there are good people. There are good people who are, sticking out for what's right with their family, for themselves, and there's not all the people who go into politics are evil, but I think there's this overall just movement that it's people just don't know what to think about it because they have nothing else to compare it to. I mean, here it's obvious, for example, when I was in Colombia, a friend of mine lives on an hour and a half outside of Medellin, and he lives in this beautiful little town, in 5 minutes you drive through it, and it's in the middle of farmland. And he showed me, we went for a 5-minute walk. He says, look at this road here. He says, the local mayor embezzled all the money that was supposed to go towards the road project, and it never got paved. And they had, it washed out. So that's the type of
corruption and,
stage 1, stage 2, level corruption. Yeah. I mean, it's here too with food systems. Don't get me.
Scotty, you got a bad connection there, buddy. It's you're not, the sound's not coming. Let's see if Scott can get that fixed. But yeah, man, that's well put, and scarier to think that we have one of the biggest propaganda machines out there, and just we don't know it. I think it kind of got.
We know it.
We know it. Yeah. And people are starting to see it now, but you just never, like in the 90s, if we said this, you'd be like, get the fuck out of here. USA's got more propaganda than China. No fucking way. And then you realize all the influence we have on the world and, all the information that's put out there.
COVID shined a big light on it.
Yeah. And that's what I was getting to earlier. With us creating the internet, you got to wonder if we did create a bunch of backdoor systems where we could siphon out information, really know what everybody's talking about, and then use that against them.
It's called the NSA, my friends.
Another conspiracy. How dare you?
That's what Snowden fucking, brought to light. That's why they want to fucking arrest that motherfucker and put him in jail the rest of the day.
Is he still in Russia, Snowden?
I believe so, yeah.
I mean, that was dope. He was on Rogan via satellite, but it's weird that Russia is protecting this guy, and we're trying to get him for dumping out for putting out the truth, basically. For that's what he was doing. He just took documents.
I mean, he basically broke it open that the NSA fucking fully watches over all of us, basically.
I mean, I kind of knew that when Homeland Security was created, I kind of knew that they were going to fucking be able to listen and think of any, and listen to anything and do whatever they wanted to. I don't know if it was said or just my brain went there, but I've kind of known that since right after 9/11, after they came up with that Homeland Security.
Oh, the Patriot Act you're talking about.
That's what it is. Yes, the Patriot Act.
It's probably happening before that, but definitely with the Patriot Act, they started monitoring everybody.
They just said we're doing it basically, and it's legal now. Like, yeah,
Come stop us.
right, right. And I mean, I guess, and we were all on board with it. We're like, we don't want another terrorist attack. Please listen to whatever
Yeah.
they're saying. Yeah.
Now we got 8 million illegal aliens in this fucking country, military age men, who knows from fucking where.
Is there any other country on earth where you could just walk across the border? Like, let me see you do that from South Korea to North Korea. See what happens to you.
Try to fucking walk into Mexico.
Well, right. Very true.
Dude, just reverse it. Try to walk into Canada. Good luck.
That is so true, dude. That shit's got to get fixed. It's sad that the state governor has to block federal agents from allowing illegal people into this country.
Oh, in Texas, you're talking about? Yeah, the Texas National Guard has shut down a lot of the border now, and then they put up barbed wire, and then yesterday the fucking Supreme Court said that the federal government can cut the barbed wire.
The fuck?
I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
right?
What clown fucking people are in charge of this shit now? Where you can let 8 million people in, and now it's like, oh no, the Supreme Court's like, oh, you can cut the barbed wire. I guess they said they can cut the barbed wire while the lawsuit's going on, but like that's the craziest part of it. It's like Governor Abbott, getting no help from the federal government, deploys the Texas National Guard, shuts down the border, and Biden is suing him for it.
Right. Right.
It's like, what?
How bass-ackwards is that, or ass-backwards?
Well, it's fucking not bass-ackwards when you figure out that they want fucking 8 million voters.
Yeah. And it's funny that they assume that, too, because what's going to happen when they don't vote that way, if that's what their shit is?
Yeah, well.
Welcome back, Scotty. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now. It's better on this phone. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
That's much better.
Well, let's talk
so
about
anyway, that's what's fucking crazy about that whole situation. It's like Governor Abbott shuts down the border, being sued by the federal government, by the Biden administration. It's like, so you want the border open.
Did you see where El Salvador now requires, was it a $1,000 visa for anyone traveling from Africa or India? I asked a buddy of mine who's Salvadorian about that. I said, what's up with that? He says, because they want to stop all these people flying to El Salvador, from coming in just to travel.
That's one of the ways they're coming in. Yeah. Well, good for El Salvador. I mean, at least they're trying to do something about it. That makes sense.
Yeah, they're getting in on the scheme. Give me 1,000, go.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'll curtail some of it, but it's not going to stop all of it. They're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, totally.
Did you see that? Did you see that the American guy who said he's going to fly down to Mexico and sneak back up to see if he could get free?
Oh yeah,
he said a free place to live.
And then didn't they apprehend somebody that has gone back and forth like 8 times and gotten all the, like, you come across the border, you get a $5,000 gift certificate, you get a fucking phone, you get a free ticket to anywhere you go. And they've talked to somebody who's gained the system where he's come back, got the $5,000, fucking going wherever he went, and then flew back to Mexico and then walked back over again, got $5,000 and like all this shit. And it's like taking complete advantage of our fucking ridiculous fucking immigration system.
I should do that.
That
dude.
They now continue to blame on fucking Republicans. I love the left. They fucking just blame. Ugh,
maybe John Rotoles.
Cabo to Texas. Let's go, boys.
Well, I just put out that meme the other day. It's like Jose at the border gets a fist bump from the INS agent, and then you at the airport getting fucking patted down by fucking TSA.
Yeah,
fucking retarded.
That is true.
Going through the X-ray
with Chad Gracias, John Rotoses, and Scott Martinez.
And then they put all these people on planes with no fucking photo ID. Do you have to show your photo ID to get on a plane? I do.
Absolutely.
But the illegals who come over, they don't have to show an ID. They just get shipped wherever they want, no IDs.
At some point, I
just love it. It makes a lot of sense. It's just fucking great.
At some point, we need to have a real ID. It's different than your license. It's like it's almost as good as a passport. Did you guys hear about this? The real ID?
I already have one of those.
Oh, you do? I never got one.
California you had to get a real ID at some point. So
yeah, I gotta upgrade some point. So Scott,
it's a little star on your license, right? Oh, sorry.
No, all good, dude. Please, with the way it's the lag is, no worries. Talk to me about when you first got interested in live. What year? How old were you? How did it come about?
Dude, in a way, like of course, most people who love music would say since I was 4 years old, I have an uncle down in Salisbury, Maryland, who I think he saw live back in '91, probably in Dewey Beach, Delaware, or Ocean City, Maryland. I'm not sure which one it was.
Wow.
That would make sense. Probably Dewey Beach.
Dewey Beach, yeah. Yeah, so he
yeah.
saw you guys down there, and he joined your fan club back, I don't know, I guess in '91, '92, whenever it started back then. I don't even know. And he was at your MTV Unplugged. He told me that he's the guy who yelled "freaks." Hello?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. He's the guy who yelled "freaks" in the beginning of TBD.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That was his yeah. So I just grew up, my uncle always listened live. All of his friends were into you guys. And, you always have that cool uncle as a kid. You go to his house for a few days and it's always awesome. So to me, I remember coming back from his house and, think Operation Spirit at, 5 years old.
Yes.
And so that was that. I mean, I grew up listening to those guys. And then when I guess about 16, when I turned 14 or 15, I bought a ticket to see live back in 2002 in Delaware at this place called the Big Kahuna. I actually commented on it, and Jimmy Lang had pictures from the show. It was, pretty awesome.
Nice.
And from then, sorry, Chad, I tried to get all the drums that you had so I could sound just like you. I've got the what do you call it? The free floating brass piccolo.
Yes. This is why we have endorsements, so people buy drums.
It worked. Except I bought all my stuff used. So
that's cool. Hey, whatever.
so yeah, that and the 13-inch quick beat. Nobody uses 13-inch quick beats. I mean, and they sound amazing. I always thought they were my favorite hi-hats.
Yeah, I loved them forever. I stopped using them. I went back to 14 and like darker hi-hats, but yeah, the quick beats were 13-inch quick beats were fucking great for a while.
Yeah. So with the holes in the bottom, and then I thought I bought the ride cymbal that you had, but I actually bought a 21-inch K heavy ride, which is actually really rare now. I didn't realize it, but I tried to emulate Chad's sound. The only cymbal I've ever broken was a dark K Splash, the one you used on Unsheathed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd spend hours. Go ahead, John.
No, don't mind me. I'm just humming Unsheathed. I love that song.
That poor splash cymbal, man. You gave that. There was no chance on that sucker.
So how long have you been playing drums then, Scott?
I think I bought that drum set when I was 18, but I started playing in elementary school, 4th grade concert band.
Yeah.
And then in high school, I played marching snare in marching band, and then finally got my own drum set. When I got out of high school, and just been playing from there. So I did play. I wouldn't call it professionally, but I had an older friend of mine who died a few years ago. He was in his 60s, and he lived in Honolulu back in the 1970s. He let me sit in and play jazz with him over in Delaware a few years ago. But he used to play with guys. He knew Danny Barcelona, for example, from Louis Armstrong's band.
Yeah.
But Don was so kind. He let me sit in and play a little old, 1920s jazz with him, 1930s. So yeah.
Very cool. Chad, you ever play any like marching snare or stuff in school like that? Or I know you were in the music class, but it seemed like you were pretty much rocking a full set straight from the get.
Oh no, in all the school bands I played saxophone.
Oh.
So
wow.
I wasn't in the drum line. I didn't play drums in the school bands.
Wow.
And so all those drummers thought that they knew that I played drums in a band, but they thought I sucked because I wasn't in drum lines and stuff. But I was like,
little did they know.
Just didn't have any interest. I learned how to play, trap set, in my bedroom. So, and that was more kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I could play most of the stuff they play, but I didn't want to go through and learn all the fucking rudiments and all that shit. So
Well, whatever you
Mhm.
did seemed to work because, yeah, you have some of the most iconic drum sounds that came out of the 90s and 2000s. I mean, just
Well,
the,
even back then, I was like, I don't want to take lessons because they're going to teach me how they play, and I want to fucking just play how I want to play. So, so I just
I was
learned. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that's one thing with Chad when he plays is he is not relying on the drum for rebound. See, if you had gone to school and been taught to depend upon the drumstick to come back, I mean that's one of the
Right.
things to me that always set your playing apart is that you're hitting, but it's you're making it all happen. You're not relying on the drums to bring the stick back to you, and
Mm.
it's more of a driving force the way you play because of that. If that makes any sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I never learned about rebound and like fills and different stuff that I would like figure out. I probably don't play some things the way they should be played, but I figured out how to do it myself. And, so, like I said, even back then I was like, I'm going to develop my own style by not taking lessons. And I could figure out like what everyone was doing. So I was like, why do I need to go have someone tell me how to do it? I can just listen to it and figure it out. And now you have videos. This is one of the very reasons I made those videos because people can see exactly what I'm doing. So I got to make more. But
dude, the maraca and Pain Lies on the Riverside, just to be that on fucking point, like the whole song, like it seems very difficult, that job. I mean, I've tried to play drums, a bunch, and it's just like, damn, that is hard, man. You really are the heartbeat of that song, like keeping everything and the timing just bam.
well, thank you. Yeah, that was we were in my bedroom and I think Chad started playing that, like the guitar riff to that. And I was just like, oh, and actually the first Morocco that I used, Chad Taylor had brought back from, I think Africa or somewhere. It had like bottle caps in it. It was a wicker Morocco with bottle caps in it.
Wow.
I think, did we record it like that? I don't know if we did, but anyway, so I just picked up the Morocco. I'm like, oh, look at this.
Dude, the way that all that shit fell into place, like just set up by God and like a little bit of like your just intuition to know like not to grab lessons, let me develop my own style. It's brave and it fucking worked. I mean, those are cool stories.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you start thinking about the odds of 4 people living in the same town, going to the same school, that then have the 4 individual skills and or personalities to be the independent parts of a rock band, like, singers are a certain way and guitar players a certain way, and then to develop the skills together and get good enough to fucking actually make it, whatever it's just the odds of that are fucking wild.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean,
So that's when you start thinking about like divine intervention a little bit, like
absolutely.
put it together this way or like whatever.
Absolutely. Now, Scott, as a, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. I was going to say, it makes you wonder how many other bands really got their start, like you said, in high school.
Yeah, I mean, you have U2
and
for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The Beatles, we said.
I was listening to Mental Jewelry. Oh man, I'm so sorry for lagging. I the way you played the Take My Anthem. No, hey, what was that? What was that song? I'm blanking. Take My Anthem. Yeah. His roles and his. I mean, it sounds like he was in marching band. I thought that, and I think in my opinion, I listened to all your stuff. The only drum solo, in my opinion, that you really have done on record was in Good Pain.
Yes.
Where you broke it down for a second and you're doing that hi-hat, Yeah, dude.
That's about the extent of drum solos that I would do. So I don't like drum solos. Like
I don't think you can.
No, but it was done.
Oh, sorry, Scott. I don't think you could really. Here's what I noticed about live. I don't think you could really have solos in the band because it seems like even during guitar solos, you got Ed kind of singing over it. Like it might be a solo for a little bit, and then he comes in. It seems he doesn't give much, or there's just not much freedom with that. Like the guitar solos are there, but there's vocals over it and stuff like that. It seems like I don't know. It just every time I'm like, oh shit, this is badass, and then all of a sudden, or whatever he does is going on.
Our biggest influence, I think, as a band as a whole was U2. So I mean, we were emulating a lot of what they were doing. Like Larry Mullins doesn't play solos,
Right.
and you know, and like one of the distinctive things we do is we don't like I don't fill into usually don't fill into like for going from the verse into the chorus. Sometimes we just fucking do it like boom, and they learned that from you too as well. Like there's Larry sometimes doesn't fill from the verse into the chorus or into different sections of the songs. You just
Get to it. Uh-oh. Am I flying solo here, or is it just me that's can you guys hear me?
hear you. Can you hear us?
Now I can. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Don't mind all the technical difficulties, folks. We're dealing with
Glitching all over the place.
continents.
Brazil.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I was saying is like one of the things that happened when the whole Robin thing was going down with Chad Taylor is like he started saying you should fill into this section of the song. I'm like, that's not what I do, but
Right.
you just fucking know we're going to the verse or going to the chorus there. Like I'm not going to traditionally fill into the next section of the song because guess what? That's made us fucking who we like that kind of different little shit is what makes live live. And like
Right.
I'm not gonna fucking fill into the fucking chorus here. But Robin Diaz does. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what Robin Diaz does. He's more of a traditional studio drummer, and that's what he does, and that's fucking great. But like that's not what I do in live.
Right.
Anyway.
And it's just why would you fuck with Magic at that point? But
Scott, that was Chad Taylor being Chad Taylor at that point. Yeah, he was the producer then. I'm like, okay,
hey
now, fuck out of here.
Producer,
telling me how to play.
Scotty, did you? Because we were talking online. I think you had some questions for Chad. I wanted to make sure you got to some of them.
Absolutely, yes. Let's
I
get
talked
to
my ass off. So.
Oh, dude, you know what? I didn't write him down, but I do know what I want to ask at the top of my head.
Sure.
In All Over You on the drive, doom, 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 ding. You're riding on the bell right there, right? Ding, 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 ding.
When we recorded it, I was
that?
more on the bell, but when I play it live, I'm just fucking bashing the ride.
Yeah. Okay.
Bell is a symbol.
Bell is like the raised part of the symbols, the round thing, and then towards the center where it sits on the the stand, there's like a raised part that's called the bell.
Ah, got you. For those less musically inclined than me, you get it.
Yeah. I guess out of each album, what besides actual concert playing, what is your favorite song off of? If you take 2 minutes and maybe ask off of Mental Jewelry, what is your favorite song that you played on, which were obviously all of them?
Yeah. Probably like Pieces Now.
Great song.
It's one of my favorites from that record.
Mother Earth is a vicious crowd. The toms on that, yeah.
Mother Earth is a vicious crowd.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like weird time signatures and different changes and stuff. And it was
Good Pain.
Hard to figure out.
Those drums on Good Pain are crazy. Crazy.
Good Pain's a good one. And,
I did with Mother Earth.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say with Mother Earth, he was doing stuff that you don't really, hear. He was doing this with the low tom with the hi hat. Am I mistaken for a different song there?
No, you're correct.
Okay, so I thought. Sorry, yeah.
It seemed like when you guys were playing the Mental Jewelry stuff in concert, it got a little bit harder. Is that because Mental Jewelry was mostly recorded with acoustic guitars, and then when you played them live, you were using electric guitars? Because like 10,000 years from now, like if you listen to concert versions from like 93-ish, like it's a harder song than it is on the album.
Yeah.
Is that because you went from acoustic to electric, or just the way you did it in concert?
Didn't really have to do with acoustic to electric. It was just more like Chad started just getting more and more distorted and louder on stage. And we were just rocking out and like playing those songs live. And because we, a lot of those songs we wrote maybe play them a few times out because we didn't have a lot of gigs to play at
Right.
that point. And then we recorded them and then went on the fucking road like all the time. You know, we were on the road a lot for even Mental Jewelry. So it's just naturally through playing, we just started getting heavier and harder. And then
Gotcha.
that's what's led into the guitars on Throwing Copper. And, so it's kind of more distorted.
It seems as like with Mental Jewelry, Ed's range is kind of, it's a little graspy. He's got a like nice yell in there, but it seems like you didn't really know how good he was or how good that voice was until Throwing Copper, when he started bringing in some of the higher vocal ranges. And, did his voice just progress, or did he always have that and just left it off of Mental Jewelry? Is that something you are thought of or were aware of, Chad?
Well, I'm aware of it. I don't know I think it's probably just him maturing as a vocalist and then trying different stuff on Throwing Copper, and then we were doing Mental Jewelry. I mean, Mental Jewelry, I don't think he was singing properly. He wasn't diaphragm supported at that point. I think he was just, using his, not breathing properly.
Throat noise, yeah.
Yeah. And
growling.
Yeah, and growling. And I think even on that tour, I wouldn't say he had problems, but I think he was starting to notice that his voice was getting tired, so he started getting serious about like taking care of it and like doing it properly.
Yeah.
I think he took some vocal lessons at some point, breathing lessons and stuff. So
yeah, it's definitely a big transition. And then, you guys all kept growing from album to album, which was kind of cool to watch. Scott, how long are you in Brazil for? Is this until you pick up your business again in the States, or are you just planning on coming back soon? What's going on?
Probably in a few weeks. I haven't bought the return ticket yet. I got to start looking. My business picks up usually around end of February, second week of March, something like that. So got to get back, get the truck ready for the busy season. Probably 2 or 3 weeks more. Cool. So yeah, I'm enjoying. I get to skip that whole terrible northeaster cold.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you want to ask more questions and about live and stuff? And did you want me to continue on like what song from each record I like?
Yes.
Yeah. So
we got sidetracked.
So I guess I would say, what is your favorite song, and then what is your would you want to list a least favorite? Or you rather not say that? I don't know.
Least favorite. Wow. My favorite song probably overall is White Discussion.
Yeah.
I love playing it. I love the song, the message in the song, and look at all this talking it's got us, baby. I mean, it's fucking,
yes.
It was spot on then. He's spot on now about it.
Yep.
And I just love fucking rocking out to that song. It's always been great. Least favorite. I don't even know.
I'm guessing it's later albums.
Yeah.
Like
there's a whole bunch of records with least favorites, I guess.
Like Nobody Knows was probably oh, what am I playing here? I love the song. It felt like that could have been an Ed solo.
And least favorite would not maybe come down to the lack of the song being good or whatever, but just the environment and the way the way the records are put together, and like here's the song structure, just play to this, instead of we were getting a room and hash out an idea and come help with the song structure. All of us would be like, oh, let's do the verse twice as long here, whatever the fuck it was. Like we would all help with arrangement. Yeah. Whereas those later albums, when Ed sort of took over all the writing, he would just bring fully constructed songs.
Even with five?
Even with five. Yeah, five, basically, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, five started out with just Ed and I in LA, because I was in Portland, so I could drive down easily, but like he was living in LA, so I just went down and hung out. He was like, let's go to this. I met this guy, Alan Johannes, and we should go record, start writing some songs at his place. I'm like, what the hell, fucking do that? And then we brought in Patrick and Chad kind of later, but that was just a weird record, because it was just like, here's the song structure. That was kind of the first time we had done that. And I was kind of game at the time because he's like, oh, it's kind of different. Let's fucking do this, you know?
When you say the strong,
But you know what?
sorry, go ahead, Scott.
Oh, you know what, John? He broke out his single stroke rolls on 5, though.
Oh yeah.
See, you know that. I don't. I just played.
I know. I'm a nerd, man. Yeah, dude.
Chad, when you say this song structure was brought to you, does that mean just like the guitar and vocals were all there, or was he like telling you like, I want this like time beat going?
No, he would just lay down the song to a click track. So it was already like the song was arranged and played. It was just a bass, you know, it would be basically like just guitar and vocal, but the structure of the song was already there. It's like the verse is this long, and then you go into the chorus, and the chorus is half here, and then we go into the bridge, whatever the fuck it was. He played that down to a click track, and then I just played along to it.
So it wasn't the magical sauce, the magical recipe that you guys were doing earlier, where you would kind of flesh out the songs together and come up with, you know, different choruses or lengths of stuff. Like it was just like, here's the song, put your parts over.
Yeah. And before that, it would be like, well, I don't, you know, like it's cool. Like the verse is great, but the chorus is like, meh. And then maybe we would come up with something different, or Ed would come up with something different. There'd be a different chord or whatever.
Right.
And so we were all involved in that process, and that's how, to me, that's how the magic is.
Yeah.
The first 4 records, it was like we all were involved in going, man. I mean, like that this verse is fucking awesome, but that chorus is not
it.
Like, so we got to do something better, you know.
So you weren't in on the Jimmy Buffett?
Well, I was never in on lyrics, so that was lyrics were always Ed's department. I didn't want anything to do with lyrics, and I just trusted Ed to do the lyrics. And you know, I mean, he's done some.
That was a good song, though.
Lyrics.
I mean, your drum part on "Transmit Your Love." I mean, I have a hard time really seeing what you do with your left hand in that. If you could play that one on your next recording,
that'd be dope.
I got to go back. Yeah, I listened to that the other day. Like when I flew back. Actually, when I flew back to Pennsylvania for Christmas, I listened to "Transmit Your Love" and most of 5. It's like, that's fucking kind of cool. Like there are some cool songs on that fucking record. I'm not saying
was some good songs.
They were shitty, but like that record, it was a new concept for the band.
Yeah.
Like I said, about the writing style. And then I was like really fucking game to do it. But then like the record company just fucked that record all up. Like we had 3 big fucking chances for that record to be big. And
totally,
you know, 9/11 happened and all that shit. And it was just like, whoa. So
if you get rid of that Jimmy Buffett with your dad, you know, shit in Transmit Love, that fucking song is crazy. The drums, the guitar,
it's beautiful.
Fucking beautiful. And then you got Hero Love on there, which is fucking just start to finish is fucking amazing. So there's definitely some real gems on there, but that
Forever
Buffett thing, I get a cringe, you know, like listening to or even singing. I'm like, oh God, you know,
I was. Oh, John, I'm sorry, dude. I was in the movies with my dad watching The Mummy Returns, and my dad wasn't in the live, you know, but I said, you know, we were sitting there listening, watching the credits. I was like, oh man, this song is awesome. And of course, that was before the record was released. And I didn't have internet back then. And I found out it was live. I was like, holy mackerel, that sounds, you know.
That's one of those missed opportunities that the record company would not take advantage of. There were 3. There was, we recorded a song that was it Deep Enough, I think it is?
For Fast and Furious.
For Fast and Furious, the record company would not let us do the cross promotion and make a video for this shit. And then you had The Mummy, Forever May Not Be Long Enough. That was supposed to be a way bigger featured song in the fucking movie, and like we did a video for it. And
that song was amazing.
Thank you. Well, that was a weird song, but anyway, so the record company would not promote that. And we're like, what the fuck? And then the whole 9/11 thing went down, and what was it? Overcome kind of like became this fucking natural anthem for that whole thing. Played all over VH1, and we were like, well, let's put the single out and like donate the proceeds to the 9/11 fund or whatever the fuck it was. Our company's like, nah, we're not going to do that either. This is a classic example of how record companies can fucking destroy, you know, records. It's just like 3 gigantic opportunities to fucking promote that record, and they were like, we're good.
especially the Overcome one, man. I mean, why would you not release that as a single, dude? It was fucking everywhere.
Yeah, it
So
baffles the
fitting.
mind.
It was so fitting to the point where people, you know, thought that it was written for 9/11. Like that's how fitting that song was. Like, you know, we were
Conspiracy.
all right. I only
We knew it was going to happen.
You're in on it.
Chad, that's why you're such a conspiracy theorist. You're in with these guys and know it all. Holy shit. You heard it here, folks, on the Gracious 2. Chad is part of the
I
problem.
just see any triangles.
Yeah. So, Scotty, you know how I like to do it. I like to leave the audience always wanting a little bit more from our guests. So can you tell people if you want to your business name, maybe some of your socials so they could check you out? I don't know if you want to give that type of promotion, but we're all about it if you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do window cleaning, soft wash, gutter cleaning service, Eastern Shore, and actually Frederick, Maryland. Our website is spotpurewash.com, and you can check out, get a quote online if you wanted to. We do a lot of waterfront homes down the Eastern Shore. A couple of my customers, one of them went to high school with Chad. I forgot the guy's name though. He's got a graphics company in New York. Otherwise, I'm on social media, Facebook and Instagram. I don't really, post too much, usually share or chat with people I know, but I'm on there as well. So
cool.
Very cool.
I would like to I thank you for coming on. I'm glad you're enjoying your time in Brazil. Tell Sandra we said hello.
Thank you, guys.
And
I will
we'll have you on
that.
again. Hopefully when you're back in the States, be a little bit better internet connection, and we'll do this again, man. Thank you for coming on.
That sounds great. And one last request, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Chad, could you do Meltdown on one of your upcoming play along videos?
Oh boy. It's funny. I listened to all of Distance to Here too on that same flight I just talked about, where I listened to 5. Yeah, Meltdown came out. I was like, oh shit, I haven't played this for a while.
That song was amazing.
So
when he starts going into that ride cymbal, it's yeah. So
cool. I'm taking. Yeah, I need to figure out what song I'm going to do in this next batch. So I start going into the catalog.
There's so much you could do, man. So yeah, we're all excited.
Cool.
Big plethora of stuff to do. Scotty, thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Thank you, Scott. Really appreciate it, man. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you guys too. You have a good day. Appreciate it.
You too. Take care, buddy. All righty then. That was Scott Martinetti. I didn't ask him if that's how you pronounce it, but since he didn't correct me, I'm going to say it's correct.
We're going to say yes, Martinetti.
Let's see if we're going to get off here soon, but let's see if our young Bobby wants to say anything to anybody real quick before we get out of here. And if I can figure out how to, there we go. Bob A, what's going on, dude? How you been?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Chilling.
Not bad.
Just want
how
to
are
say,
you?
I want to say hello to everybody and just say how is everybody, and thank you for joining our stream, and thank you for all the good comments that you're leaving. It's much appreciated. Much appreciated.
You have any crypto knowledge for the audience out there?
Yeah, actually, Myro, it just dipped right now. It's the Solana founders dog coin. It might pull a Shiba, so keep your eyes on it. The name's is Myro, Myro.
Okay.
I made a 20x on it in 2 weeks.
All right then. Nice. When are you taking me to dinner?
It's in a dip right now, so now's a good time to buy it.
Yeah,
the whole market just dropped because all the ETFs got released. It was a Southern News event.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Go get you some of that. Check us out, dude, at the Gracious 2 everywhere. Instagram at the _Gracious_2. Go get some of our gear. Those links are in our bios. And we want to thank you guys for coming on this ride. It's fun. We have plenty more coming up. We are booked with guests, I think, till like mid-March. So if you're trying to come on, reach out and we'll try to get you booked, but it fills up quick. Next week, we have Tara and Abby, I believe. Am I right this time?
That is correct. Yes.
Yes. We have
our first females.
Our first females and our first double feature, right?
We got to get more DEI here, man. What the fuck is wrong with us?
Especially for Titty Tuesday. I mean, come on now.
Oh, come on, the titty. Knock it off.
But thank you guys. Thank you for coming along and checking us out. We shall see you next week. We are continuing to put this shit in bullshit.
Peace, everybody. Thank you. See you
Bye,
soon.
everybody.